All right, let's get to Dolphins at Packers. Packers 3.5-point favorites. 47.5 points is the over-under, but the Dolphins come in cooking 30-plus past couple weeks. Hung tough with the Bills the week before that.
Can they? They're cooking, but can they start a fire in the freezing rain?
That's the question. That is my question.
You got an Islander with a noodle playing in sub-30.
And he said he's hyped for this game to kill the narrative.
Make a narrative.
He's trying to kill it. 17 degrees, I heard, is what it's going to be at game time.
I love that.
Oh, I mean, when you look at this game,
I've had a few of those.
This comes down to Miami finally changing that narrative, not only about playing in cold weather, but playing playoff caliber teams and winning. We remember what the record was last year. It was over. Like, they couldn't be a playoff caliber team. I believe Dallas might have been the only team that they beat at the time last year. So they beat one team last year. That was a playoff caliber team. This has been a narrative with the Dolphins. They beat who they're supposed to be. But when it comes to the upper echelons of the NFL, they don't get it done. And also, they're a South Florida team that can't play in cold weather. I don't know how many people would have been able to play in that Kansas City game in the playoffs because that was ridiculous weather. But this is an opportunity right now to prove that they can play in cold weather. Now, I will say this. Tua's played extremely well his last two times in Buffalo. It wasn't him why they lost the game. The defense couldn't stop anybody. But 17 degrees is different, right? 17 degrees is different.
What I didn't realize until I moved down here was how warm Miami actually is.
Year-round.
It was 212 straight days. It was above 70 degrees.
Yeah.
Here. That had only just a week ago dropped below 70 for the first time since March, which is just like, you're never even chilly down here.
Correct.
So you never even get a touch of like AC is the coldest you feel year round. And 17 degrees is just different.
It's different, man.
If you haven't been exposed to it, your body, and it's not just Tua, it's like the other guys too on that team.
You know what I can't wait to see? How people are trying to be fake tough in pregame and go out there with no shirts
on.
No shirts.
No shoes, no shirts, guys. Hacky sack guys.
You're just trying to get your foot cut off?
Who was it that played with you that was like that?
Ooh, I'm trying to think.
Where you were like, man, go put
it's usually always the DBs and receivers.
Always
the DBs and receivers.
Houston.
He was that guy.
I feel like Braylon Edwards was probably that guy. Was he?
Brandon Marshall was that
still?
Nah, Braylon. Braylon was there with me for 1 year, but he never did that when I was there.
No, he was cold.
Yeah.
Brandon Marshall would do it too. But here's the deal. We're having the conversation about the Miami Dolphins as a team when we say they don't know how to play in the cold. But really, it's that quarterback where it's going to come down to how is he going to be able to handle that. It's at the end of the day, it's the offensive and defensive lines.
Correct.
And when I think about the advantage, I'm going to go advantage to the Green Bay Packers, and they can do it all up front. They can pass protect, they can run block. They've got some guys who can get after the quarterback. And if you have to pump fake, if Halfley shows something to Tua and says, "Here you go, take it," as one of these disguises, and then forces the pump fake if somebody breaks on a ball, you better be blocking your ass off because they're so used to that ball being out in Miami that Tua could be in trouble. I mean, it's cold. You don't want to touch people when it's 15 degrees. D linemen don't want to get touched. But I know that this Green Bay group has practiced in it all week. They don't care. It's what they do time and time again, which is why I love the Packers in this spot, even though the Dolphins are great right now.
Yeah. You made a really good point, right? We can talk about Tua, talking about Loa and how he's tailor-made for this Mike McDaniel offense. He's never going to go broke taking a profit. The first read is there. He's going to take it. Now, where he's gotten in trouble in the past is where he's taken the first and second read away, and he's got to hold the ball. But the growth I've seen from him this year off platform has been amazing to see, right? We've seen him go through his progressions, actually get outside the pocket and make plays. He's done it multiple times this year. So that'll be something to keep an eye on too, because Xavier McKinney is the best at taking the football away right now for the Green Bay Packers. So if you're Tua, you need to know where he's at all times, right? Because he's a thief in the night. He would come into your house under your Christmas tree, take your gifts away from you in the middle of the night. So that's something to watch this game. And also I think Josh Jacobs has another big game, right? You got to remember, this team played the Detroit Lions earlier in the year. It was ugly. I think it was 30 degrees, raining and everything. And they got Josh Jacobs going a little bit. The only thing is they got down in that game and they had to become pass happy. I don't see that happening in this game, especially with Josh Jacobs coming off 100-plus yards versus the 49ers with 3 touchdowns. I like him to go over his 71.5 rush yards.
Matt LaFleur is so good at scheming up that run, too. Yeah. And speaking of scheming stuff up, we know that Mike McDaniel, he likes to work both sides of the field at the same time. He gives the defense a lot to look at. So for Green Bay, I would say the key is just staying home, reading your keys, because when you get over aggressive on some of these pump fake switch actions, the orbit, all that crazy stuff, that's when you get guys running wide open.
A big reason why I like the Packers in this one, outside of the weather, which I think is like the biggest reason to like them, is you touched on where the Miami Dolphins, they attack that area between the linebackers and the safeties.
Yep.
And they're going to test like Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams, but those are two very instinctive safeties.
Very good players.
They read route concepts at a really high level. And that's what you need against this Dolphins team. You saw them just cook in that area against the Patriots last week. I don't think that's going to be the case this year.